A new age has dawned. No longer will gamers have to shack up with their parents to enjoy the games that they love. No longer will we have to wake up at 6 a.m. to go to a job that we don't give a shit about. The time has come where we can be free men once again. Alright, I'm done being dramatic. So wow guys, this is a bombshell that got dropped on us. When I first took in all the news that came with this event that happened, I'm gonna be honest, I was extremely disheartened. Didn't really know what to feel. Was kind of left going, what is Blizzard doing? This isn't the game that we thought we were getting. This is something entirely different. This is insanity, right? I mean, this can't be real. This can't be really happening. They can't really think this is a genuinely good idea. I mean, these are the feelings we all had, I'm sure. So I'm gonna make two videos on this since there was so much to cover. I'm gonna give my thoughts on the auction house first because that's the biggest thing. So this video will be all about the auction house and how crazy that situation is. And then I'll probably make another video going over like all the other little things that they brought up with the event. So let's start with why Blizzard decided on this system. Like what made them go, okay, we have a problem here, let's fix it with this. Let's fix it with an auction house where players can sell their items for real money and people can ultimately buy power in a video game. Something that was shunned upon and looked down on so many years, you know, since video games started. There was never a video game that did this in a good light. It never brought this to the casual market, and it was always against the EULA of you know, all these companies. So why did Blizzard come up with this idea? And it stems from a problem that's happened with Diablo 2, which is websites were created to buy and sell items. You know, this had happened for a very long time in other games. So it was nothing new for Diablo, but it was a big problem, and towards the end of Diablo's life, you know, now, there's one major website that sort of handles all of this, called D2JSP, and basically you have a forum currency. They've come up with their own currency, where you can give this currency for items, and it's completely outside of Diablo except for the item transfer. And, you know, this guy who created this website probably made a ton of money off of this. And so let's break it down to why this website even existed, why someone had to come up with a currency to help the trading system in Diablo 2. There was never a system in place for currency to control the market. So people came up with different things, you know, traded for SOJs or what have you, gems and these things. Players had to come up with their own currency, something that had value, because gold had no value, it had no purpose. And so that's why a website like this existed, was to help the player out because of the poor in-game system. And also just the poor trading mechanics of the game. It's very hard to go and find people who want to buy your stuff. You have to join games with like 5 other people and hope one of them wants your stuff. That's not very awesome, let's just say that. And Blizzard realized this. They put in the auction house, they put in a currency that's going to matter, gold, and they're gonna make it much easier to trade, and there's no purpose for a site like this to exist. So it baffles me why they would even go to explaining this like, we don't want these sites, these third-party sites to exist, we want it to be secure and on our servers and where we ultimately have control over it, when they already fixed that problem. This does nothing to the Chinese farmers. This does nothing to prevent them from selling anything. In fact, it almost makes it a legitimate business. So let's look at some of the reasons why Blizzard thinks this will not hurt the game in any way. So one of the reasonings is this game is not an esport, and buying power in this game won't affect it because the arena is not like a super competitive environment. It's just there for fun, and it's sort of a secondary system within the game. It's not their main focus. In that regard, someone who comes in and just buys the best gear that they possibly can and dumps a ton of cash on this game and is better than you in every way, they think it's going to be okay. And another thing is they are changing the arena, and I think part of it is because of this system. In the past, and at last BlizzCons, they'd shown off the arena as a last man standing or last side of the team standing wins, but there's talk now that that's going to change, and it's going to change into like this deathmatch style where if you die, it's not that big of a deal. They want to encourage the more casual audience to get into arenas, and that's what they found with this new system of team deathmatch, where you just go in and if you die, you'll respawn a little bit later, and the team that gets the most kills at the end will ultimately win. So that's potentially getting changed. That's not like a for sure. So that's why they think it won't harm the game on a competitive level, because their arena is not there for competition, it's just there for fun. Alright, now that we're over that, I'm not going to talk about the straight mechanics of the auction house. You know, you can get that from any other news site. But I will touch on a few things. Hardcore mode not having it is huge. I know a lot of people are going to want to play hardcore a lot more now because of this. So this is where it gets to be a bit of a gray area, because they're not having it for hardcore mode. And so what that means is all those things that were, you know, just listed as reasons they wanted this in the game just go out the window, because, you know, gold farmers are going to be selling items in hardcore on black market sites where it's not safe. Same exact thing that happened previously. And the reasoning why they don't want it in hardcore, I mean, it makes sense on this level, where they don't want somebody just going out and spending like $1,000 on items and then stepping outside and getting crushed and like losing all of that money instantaneously and having to deal with that situation over and over and over. Whether or not the player was in the right or the wrong, they just don't want that on their plate of things to deal with. So I can understand that on some level, why they don't want it in hardcore, and I'm kind of happy that's not hardcore, because this just makes me want to play hardcore that much more. And I know for a lot of people, they're almost going to be in this situation where it's like, well, I don't want to deal with the real life money stuff and that whole auction house and that trading system. So now I'm kind of forced to play hardcore, and they might not want to be sort of in that situation. They don't want to feel like that. So they kind of have to choose between the two lesser evils, and that's not a good situation. So if you guys didn't know, StarCraft 2, Heart of the Swarm, the expansion pack that's coming out, with it comes the marketplace for people like you and me to create maps and sell them for real money. So this is going on right now in the game currently. You know, you can create custom maps, but they're going to have like a marketplace where you can put up your custom maps for money. Now, I think that is a beautiful system. You know, it encourages people to really create content for the game, give it longevity in life. It allows people to make money off of their hard work and brilliant ideas. I mean, looking at past Blizzard games like Warcraft 3, where Dota spawned a whole new genre of games, like that's a huge deal. It spawned a whole new genre of games, and for esports, like that scene is huge for esports right now. And that's freaking awesome. Really, that's freaking awesome that a custom map creator has spawned like this whole new community for esports. So, you know, what is Diablo 3's marketplace? What is that going to add? What is that going to even promote within the game itself? It's not going to, you know, people aren't going to go out and make content for the game. They're just going to want to go farm items, sell items, make a little bit of cash. Anyone that thinks they're going to get rich off this or make a living off this, you're probably, you know, way overthinking. I'm not saying you can't make, you know, minimum wage or something off this. You probably could, and the system's not out yet to really go into that, but I don't think anybody's gonna get like, you know, super rich off of this. And I realize I'm harping on the negative side of this. I'm really trying to see the good in this. There's a lot of people out there that aren't affected by it or think it's going to be, you know, a good thing for the game industry. We don't know how it's going to affect the game industry. You know, a lot of companies look up to Blizzard as the sort of head honcho of the industry. So many games have started because of their design philosophy and just their mentality around game design, and for a good reason. How many WoW clones and Diablo clones are out there now and still being created to this day? So a lot of other game companies will see this and think this is a viable business model for them, and it's really not a step in the right direction, I feel like. But I will tell you, the one thing that this does bring Diablo, the one positive thing that we can all realize and take from this, Blizzard as a company is going to get, revenue off of this constantly. They're going to be able to support their game in areas that they need to, and with Diablo 2, they didn't really have any way of making money. This isn't a monthly fee MMO. This is, you buy the game once and then you buy expansion packs, and that's it. So it does give Blizzard some revenue to keep the game up to date, patched, secure, if not give them the biggest reason to keep it secure. So that is really awesome. They can't just do everything they want because, they have World of Warcraft and that's such a cash cow for them. So this gives some legitimacy to stopping the bots, stopping the spammers and all that. So that's way cool. So this is probably the biggest problem I have with this system. It's not the buying of power, it's not the selling or people making tons of cash off of this. The area where it gets really bad and ultimately hurts the game as a whole is, put yourself in this situation. So you're playing with a bunch of friends and something really good drops and you're the only one that sees it. No one else knows what dropped for you. You're gonna pick that item up and say your friend could have used it. You're not gonna want to give that to your friend. That's real money that you just picked up. Regardless if you sell it for gold and then sell the gold for real money, if you gave that item to your friend, you would be giving them real money. And this is where it just breaks completely, where this whole system just gets crushed for me, is I won't have this feeling of, okay, I'm gonna help my friends out, I wanna help them do better. Because this stuff is real currency now. The items you get is now real dollars. And that's where it gets so disgusting for me. That's where it inevitably fails. And if I'm wrong about this, someone enlighten me. But that's how I feel about it, and I can't see this being a good thing for the game overall. I think it's just going to harbor a lot of negative playstyle and people being sneaky and trying to scam their friends even more just to sell stuff for real money. Like, this system is not optimal. Anyways, guys, that's how I feel. I feel like, I want to be positive about stuff. I want to be happy. I want to be excited that this game's coming out, but it's just, this really crushed me, and I hope that this isn't the last we hear about it. And maybe Blizzard rethinks this after getting all this feedback. Either way, if it's kept in, I'll definitely be plowing some hardcore mode with you guys and all my friends. So thanks for listening. I'm going to go record how I feel about the other news that got announced, and that video should be up around the same time as this one. See you guys.